All right, so it's time to talk about and get started with the all aluminum radiator that I got for my car. I want to talk real quick on a little bit of details at least. So as of right now, I've only been able to find it listed on eBay and Amazon. On eBay, it doesn't come up under Grand Am. They don't list it as the Chevy Malibu and Oldsmobile Alero. It's currently out. The seller is car_modification 2016. That's who's got that, and it's listed for $139. And it can also be found on Amazon under the branding Cooling Care. Now, again, this says unavailable, so they must be out across the board anyway. Yeah, so it's the same one. This one does say Grand Am on it. A little broader range with their listing name too. It actually does say 9705, where the other one really doesn't. It's kind of all over the place. Let me see. Yeah, it says 97 to 03 and then 97 to 01, so it really doesn't make sense. But that's eBay for you. So yeah, so it's also on Amazon. Cooling Care doesn't have a website apparently. Some reviews are out there about them. Doesn't seem too bad. And I believe on Amazon it was actually listed for like 175, so a little more there. But it seems like it's going to be another one of those parts where it's going to pop up and a bunch of people are going to probably jump on it and it's going to go out pretty quick. So that compared to like a stock OEM one, I'll use Rock Auto, which is kind of a bad example because it's going to be a lot cheaper than your local stores. But even a GM genuine one is going to be $144. Now the idea behind this is, so obviously it's thicker, so better cooling, more, you're gonna have more capacity in it. You're not gonna have them plastic end tanks that I personally have actually had issues where they crack. So that would get rid of that. Everything, you know, on the listing and the pictures appears to be identical to how our stock one's set up. So looking at this, it should be pretty much a bolt in and go ordeal. Obviously with probably a little more, probably with a little extra fluid, but we'll get to that once we get it installed. So now we're gonna go ahead and unbox it and see what we got and then get it put in. Okay, so we got a new radiator here. I didn't need a radiator, but I've seen this all aluminum one shared before. So I went ahead and ordered it. Pop this bad boy open and this guy out of here. Yeah, this is so it's advertised as a factory replacement. Looking, it does appear to be. So on the front, we have the two screw holes for your AC condenser, as well as the little holders down here. Our bottom has the little nubs, I guess, for the mounts on the bottom for the little rubber shoes that I have down there. On the back side, we've got our inlet and outlet. I'm seeing the two spots for the transmission cooler lines, and then the fill tube where it comes from the reservoir, and a little overflow that comes from the reservoir as well. And then we also have our holders back here for the fans. I do kind of like the little drain here. I don't like that it comes out of the end here, but we'll see how it installs. All right, so before I get started, I'm gonna spend very little time describing how to change the radiator because I did a video on it, but a quick recap to get this guy out. So we're gonna lift it up. You're gonna drain out the fluid. Take the cap off your reservoir to help let the fluid drain. Get all your hoses off. So your upper, your lower main ones. Get your reservoir hose off. Get the overflow hose off. Make sure unplug all your fans and do your best to get them off completely. If you need to leave them on the radiator side, it's not too bad, but it's gonna make it a little harder trying to get it out. Because what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna drop this out the bottom. You're gonna go underneath, and I'm gonna show you there's two 10mm bolts on each side that you undo, and the radiator will drop right out the bottom. Now, if you have AC still, you're gonna have to go in the front and undo the condenser and let it stay inside the car. Some things to think about: you may need to take your battery and the battery tray out to get to the upper hose. And again, with the AC, the line attaches to the fan shroud, so you'll have to unbolt that also. But I do have another video on that, so if you need to know how to take it out, check that one out. For now, we're gonna get this one out so we can compare the stock radiator to this new one. So real quick, so here's the bolts I speak about, 1 and 2. You're gonna have 2 on each side, and that's what holds the radiator actually in. So have some support on that so that when you pull those bolts out, it doesn't just fall out on you. Mine's a little more empty than what yours will be, but here's our comparison. So definitely a lot thicker. I'd say probably 3 times the thickness here. Quick glance, everything seems to be the same and in the same spot. Your overflow, your tank, and your lower hose all match here. We also have our lines for the transmission cooler. Now I can't test that because I don't have an automatic anymore, but they look to be in the same spot and looks to be the same thread also. Other side, you just have your upper hose. Looks good. Flip around real quick and take a look at the AC hookup. The lower holders and the bolt holes match up also. It's trying to pee on me, so we're just gonna leave that like that. Oh, and the fans. Fan stuff seems to be in the right place, but we're about to find that out right now because I'm about to install them before I install this. Alright, so the lower portion is fine. This upper is too thin, or too narrow, I should say. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and shave off this until it fits right down in there. Something I want to add too, so I got coolant going in here, and I just let it gravity bleed for now just to get the system full. I'll have to start it and actually bleed it later on. I was able to put back in what I took out as far as coolant wise, plus almost another gallon. So obviously big radiator is going to up your capacity, so you'll just have to get some extra. If you're going to do a full system flush, then probably get an extra gallon on top of I can't remember what the car calls for, but just get an extra gallon above that just to keep it safe. Really no complaints. It's crazy. It's almost like it fits just right. And on my end, outside of modifying the fan shroud, I didn't have to do anything else. Everything else was just throw it on and go. Everything else appears to be all right, but I'm sure same thing with the fan shroud. If there is any issue, it's got to be minor. But the radiator itself fits in there just fine. Okay, so now that it's put in, real quick to finish this out, it wasn't a bad job overall. If you need a radiator, probably isn't a bad idea if you can get a hold of one. Not too sure how it would go if you're gonna go out the top trying to replace it that way, just because of how much thicker it is. But once it's put in, you're gonna find it's almost no change. So the sizing almost possibly goes towards the front, which there's plenty of space even if you have an AC condenser, and it won't be a worry, you know, nothing's not gonna fit. Down the road, you know, probably middle of summer, I'll touch base back on it, let you guys know how it's doing if I notice anything different. Again, I didn't need a radiator. I had no issues. The car would sit right at 180, just like it should be, because I have a lower temp thermostat. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.